6 victims, 6 AIs, it all comes together. Hey everybody, Templar74 here with another Yu-Gi-Oh video, and today's Yu-Gi-Oh video is going to be my thoughts and impressions regarding the latest episode of Yu-Gi-Oh VRAINS, episode 41. And I'll be honest with you guys, although there wasn't a huge amount of dueling in this episode, you know, the kickoff between the final duel between Revolver and Playmaker, per se, this was still a very dialogue-heavy episode, and we did get a lot of questions answered in this episode. And so even with the lack of dueling, it was still a really great episode in my opinion. The episode starts off with a brief montage of the arc so far. We see Spectre go up against Blue Angel and defeat her. We see Playmaker go up against Spectre and he defeats him. We see Go up against Revolver and Revolver destroying Go. And that's where the episode leaves off at last week's episode, when Revolver finally confronts Playmaker and says the time has come to settle this in one final duel, before jumping on his board and taking off into the data storm which has erupted around the Tower of Hanoi as Revolver tells Playmaker to follow him. So the stage for this duel is very, very hardcore. We are up deep on the Tower of Hanoi. We're up towards the top of it. And right now, there is literally a tornadic-like data storm going around it, along with these huge chunks of data that they're going to have to try to dodge and avoid in order not to get hit. Because Kusanagi actually points this out, that if any chunk of that debris hits them in the wrong place, they're automatically dead. So it's basically the equivalent of dueling and a tornado and a hurricane combined. It's totally insane. But that point aside, we see this duel about ready to get underway, but Playmaker remembers his last duel with Revolver, and he knows it's extremely dangerous to let Revolver get the first move. So Playmaker takes the advantage and the momentum by making the first turn, where he summons Stack Reviver, a new monster, Boot Staggered, and Backup Secretary, which he uses to link summon Decode Talker and bring back Backup Secretary, and that's Playmaker's first move. So now Playmaker has made his first move, and before Revolver even does anything in this duel, before he even draws a single card, he looks to Playmaker and says, "Do you know why the Knights of Hanoi are after the Ignis?" Because Playmaker is actually confronting him about this. He said, "Why are you doing this? If you just want to kill the Ignis, why are you going to destroy the network? Why are you going to destroy the world?" And it's Revolver that actually comes up and poses this question to Yusaku or Playmaker at this point. And that is, do you know why the Knights of Hanoi are going after Ignis in the first place? And he goes on to explain that the Lost Incident, its true purpose, was to kidnap 6 children and create 6 AIs with free will and model them after the duelists that they were fighting. So this mysterious AI that we see in Yusaku's flashbacks to the past is really Ignis. So Ignis shares Playmaker's, he's modeled after Playmaker at this point. And we see Revolver go on about how Ignis created Cyverse World, where the other AIs with artificial intelligence and are able to think for themselves are located, and how Ignis hid it away. But Playmaker is like, well, wait a minute here. Ignis had his memories wiped. And it's that moment that Revolver drops the biggest bombshell. That when they went after Ignis in the first episode, and we saw his cracking dragon eat Ignis, apparently the Knights of Hanoi had combed through the data that they had collected from Ignis, and there was nothing there about his memories. So Ignis knows everything, apparently. He still has his memories, and apparently the only reason why Playmaker doesn't know this is because him and Kusanagi were unable to crack this very special coding program that Dr. Kogami had come up with. So Playmaker cannot get through that algorithm, so Ignis is able to hide his memories, and that's when Revolver says that an AI that is capable of deceit and lying is a very dangerous thing. We need to kill Ignis. They're not so much after the other AIs with free will like Ignis, but right now they're going after Ignis because he is the most developed and he is the fastest evolving of all the AIs. So with this being said, Revolver just flat out tells Playmaker, you've been lied to this whole time. Are you going to continue to trust the Ignis? And that's when Playmaker says, I don't trust this Ignis. I don't care about this AI. My beef is with you, Revolver. And so Revolver's very intrigued by this, and of course Ignis is very hurt by this because Ignis is like, well, what about our special friendship, Playmaker? And Playmaker's like, I never considered you a friend. You are a hostage, nothing more. So while all this is going on, we're still trying to dodge this debris, and we actually see a piece of it hit Playmaker. But Playmaker is actually a lot better off to get through this field than, say, Yamamoto and his cameraman, who most certainly are not. Poor Yamamoto, I actually felt bad when that guy lost a bit of his tail. But anyway, so they're trying to dodge all this. Playmaker at this point is just like, I don't need you, Ignis, shut up. And Revolver is very intrigued by this because he knows that Playmaker is not going to trust the AI. He's not going to work with the AI. So this is going to be easy pickings for him. And in fact, Revolver actually makes a comment about Ignis being such an arrogant AI. So anyway, we got the revelation of Cyverse. We got the revelation of how Ignis is protecting his kin by hiding Cyverse World. And we learn all this weird stuff. And I also want to say, before I talk too much more about the episode, I do want to say I called it. I remember saying, I think it was when we reviewed episode 1 of VRAINS, that this artificial intelligence thing that Playmaker kept revolving back to was Ignis. So yeah, I guess I got that one right. But I mean, that was kind of obvious. But anyway, the duel continues on. Revolver finally makes his first turn, and he brings out his twin-headed behemoth monster, and he actually draws Mirror Force when he makes his draw, and he sets Mirror Force down. So that's pretty much Revolver's turn. He summons one monster in attack position and Mirror Force face down. I mean, anybody that's played the card game will tell you that that is virtually the stupidest move you could make under normal circumstances, because it just 9 times out of 10, they're going to assume you got a trap card. So anyway, any duelist that plays the actual trading card game will tell you that was the stupidest move you could ever make. But Playmaker actually does see through this. He sees this is Mirror Force, but Mirror Force or not, Playmaker's determined he's going to get through. And so he summons this new monster, Staggered, and what this card does is it allows him, once it switches into defense position by its effect, Foil Toy Lancer, that's the name of the card. I'm sorry, everybody, it just slipped my mind. But anyway, Foil Toy Lancer, its effect is once it's switched into defense position, card effects cannot affect it. So he then, knowing Mirror Force can't do anything at this point, Playmaker sends Decode Talker into action. Decode Talker goes to attack Revolver's monster, but Revolver's monster that Playmaker's attacking has a very devastating effect. That when it's attacked, it forces all of Playmaker's monsters to switch into attack position, meaning Foil Toy Lancer's effect is gone. So now, Revolver is able to activate his Mirror Force, and much like he did against Go Onizaka, manages to wipe Playmaker's entire field clean. So now Playmaker's field is gone. Revolver now has enough material on his field to link summon a Link 3 monster. So this is not going to end well for Playmaker. In fact, it does not end well for Playmaker because Revolver brings out a new monster, new Link monster, and he's able to use it, Flash Charge Dragon, and he's able to use it to go after Playmaker and manages to knock Playmaker's life points down to 900. And so with Playmaker's life points down at 900, he does not have anything on his field. Revolver's second dragon is able to charge up using its effect. It now has 1600 attack points, and it moves in to attack Playmaker, and that's where the episode leaves off. So we're at a cliffhanger at this point with this episode. Playmaker is on the verge of defeat within just 2 turns. Revolver clearly got the better of him. We got a whole lot of development in this episode. This episode was just so much to digest, everybody, in my opinion. But anyway, overall, with all that being said, this was a very great episode of Yu-Gi-Oh VRAINS. I really enjoyed it. Episode 41 is definitely getting a 9 out of 10 for me because we had so many questions answered. The only problems that I had were the brief ones between the whole... I wasn't really akin to the whole 4-minute flashback at the very beginning of the episode. I think that would have been better served not to be used. But overall, it's still a very enjoyable episode, even with that one little quirk behind it. So anyway, with that being said, like I said before, I give this episode a 9 out of 10. Really great episode of Yu-Gi-Oh VRAINS in my opinion. But as always, in the comments section down below, let me know what you guys thought of this week's episode. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was just there? Let me know in the comments section down below, because as always, I enjoy hearing from you. Alright everyone, as always, Templar74 signing off. Have a great day everybody, and I'll talk to you all next time. Goodbye everybody.